Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Main Street Moments podcast. This is Kathy.
And Brian.
And the title of today's episode is Disney Woke or Broke, because there are some things that are happening in the Disney world lately that a lot of people are upset about and accusing them of being overly woke. And the first one involves Minnie Mouse getting a new wardrobe change. And the second one involves the new live-action Snow White movie.
Okay, now here's the thing. I don't know if it's so much of them being woke is the problem. What Disney is about to do, they've already done this with Minnie Mouse, and now this thing we'll talk about a little later with the remake of Snow White. They are changing fundamental things that are signature characters of Walt Disney.
Iconic things.
That were created and launched, Minnie Mouse created by Walt Disney himself, and Snow White was the first full-length animated feature film that made Walt Disney a household name around the world forever.
Well, the first one we're going to talk about is Minnie Mouse is getting a wardrobe change in honor of Women's History Month, which is in March. And I'm not clear if this is a permanent change. I don't think it is, but it's in Disneyland Paris, and they had Stella McCartney, as you all know, is Paul McCartney's daughter.
Oh, okay.
And she's a designer, and she gave Minnie Mouse a fashion makeover. Now, Minnie Mouse was created in 1928 and has always had the red dress with the white polka dots with the high heels and the little cute bow in her hair. Well, it says here, Stella, and I'm reading this from the Daily Mail, Stella McCartney created the new costume for her in honor of Women's History Month, which takes place in March, and in celebration of Disneyland Paris's 30th anniversary. Now, the new outfit is a blue polka dot blazer with matching pants in an attempt to make her a symbol of progress for a new generation.
Okay, now, looking at this image to me, and I'll say this, oftentimes Disney, they do something at Disneyland Paris, and it's like a test, and then they bring it over here to America, right? Like they started the whole Disney Genie thing over there first. They're testing. But I looked at this picture, and two things about it, because I first heard that she was wearing a pantsuit, but it looks more like pajamas than a pantsuit. But when I look at Minnie Mouse, I can't really tell it's Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse. It doesn't look like Minnie Mouse.
Other than the eyelashes and the bow, maybe.
And with a quick glance, it looks like it could be Mickey Mouse. She's losing her gender, her individuality, and it's just, I think, strange.
Well, I think it's god-awful, and, Minnie Mouse changes costumes all the time. She has her signature red polka dot dress, which is her iconic look. Like Mickey has his iconic outfit. But they do change clothes when you're in the park. They'll have different costumes for, like, Animal Kingdom, or for a certain, like they'll have a Christmas costume or a 50th anniversary costume. But Minnie Mouse always wears a dress. I don't think I've ever seen her in pants. She's a girl. She wears a dress. That's, some people might say that's too gender, whatever. But there's nothing wrong with wearing a damn dress. There's nothing wrong with looking like a girl. I mean, what are they trying to say here? That you got to look like a man to be modern? I mean, that's how I take it. And a lot of people are comparing this look to Hillary Clinton because, she always wore the pantsuits. And people are really not happy on social media. They said it's more woke BS is their phrasing, and that they hate it. It's ugly. And I'd love to know what you guys think. I have a picture of it in the thumbnail. I just think it's more of this, defeminizing of things.
Well, I'll tell you the thing.
I don't understand why a dress and heels all of a sudden is a negative.
This is the thing. Mickey and Minnie, they obviously have the Runaway Railway now. But that's kind of a new ride. And before that, the Disney parks were a little light on Mickey and Minnie. I mean, you'd see them around at a photo op and things like this. But the parks are really, I think, too light on Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I don't think there's enough of them. Sometimes I'll go to Hollywood Studios. I'll see Minnie there in the opening. But they're not around as much as they used to be. Remember they had the Talking Mickey for a while, which really creeped people out, and they stopped doing that. And they even had Talking Mickey would even speak Spanish. It was pretty cool. I never got to meet Talking Mickey. They got rid of it beforehand. And
they got rid of it because people took too much time.
Everybody's having conversations with Mickey all day.
They needed it to move along.
But I understand that things change and evolve. Like if you go back to Walt Disney World in the 90s during the Roger Rabbit era, where it was very there were fashion things changed on Mickey and others that are into the times, but you could always tell who Mickey was and who Minnie was, and Minnie is always dressed, no matter what the outfit is, in girly clothes. And
the girls wear dresses. Daisy wears dresses. Yeah. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing a dress. I mean, why is all of a sudden wearing a dress a negative? And it says here in the article, in the past 2 years, Disney has implemented several woke changes across its entire company, from adding racism warnings to several of its classic movies, including Peter Pan and the Jungle Book, and encouraging white staff members to decolonize their bookshelves as part of their anti-racism training. So Disney is fully woke, and they're clearly trying to make a statement here.
Okay, this is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
This is new. So Disney is asking cast members to decolonize their bookshelves.
White staff members.
Okay, does that include...
Not cast members.
So when you're decolonizing your bookshelves, does that mean you have to take off the Swiss Family Robinson?
Well,
Then we got the Treehouse here.
I don't know what books would figure. I mean...
I don't know.
Maybe Moby Dick because it's a white whale. I don't know.
I'm talking about something like 20,000 Leagues.
No,
is that a...
Maybe, I don't know. It just says decolonize the bookshelves, whatever the hell that means. I don't know what books would go in that. Maybe Mark Twain, because some of his books have the N-word.
Tom Sawyer's Island?
They have Tom Sawyer's Island, and I said this before a long time ago. I would not be surprised if Disney got rid of that because of the Mark Twain books. Look, this whole thing, this whole habit of, maybe it's our generation. Brian and I are in our 50s. We're Generation X.
I'm in our 50s. I'm 50.
Well, we're in our 50s, honey. I know you hate to accept it, but that's the way it is.
We're Generation X.
We're Generation X. And we didn't grow up with this woke stuff, okay? And I think it's ridiculous. I think that Minnie Mouse should keep her... Now, this is, I don't think, a permanent thing, but her outfit is hideous looking. If you're going to put her in a pantsuit, at least make it look cute. You're right. It looks like pajamas.
It should be pink.
Red. Her look is red.
Yeah, red, pink.
But, I don't understand. Stella McCartney says it's a new modern look. People are definitely not happy about it. You're right. She looks like Mickey Mouse with eyelashes. I don't think that we need to gender neutralize everything. And they just took off the high heels of the green M&M. I mean, what the hell is wrong with high heels? All of a sudden looking like a woman is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, tell us what you guys think. It's crazy. I don't know what else is going to happen. I mean, it's not going to make me hate Disney, but I just think it's stupid.
Well, something else has happened, and it involves Snow White. So let's talk about that.
This is another thing.
This is an article from the Hollywood Reporter. So let me read through the article, and then we'll talk about this as we go along, all right? This is in the Hollywood Reporter again. Disney on Tuesday responded to recent harsh criticism made by Peter Dinklage, who is, Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, about the upcoming live-action remake of Snow White. The Emmy-winning Game of Thrones star was a guest on Monday's episode of Marc Maron's WTF podcast, where he blasted the announced film based on the 1937 animated classic. After noting the casting of West Side Story breakout Rachel Ziegler, Dinklage told Maron, "Literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs." This is Peter Dinklage talking. "Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but then you're still making the effing backwards story about seven dwarfs living in a cave together. What the F are you doing, man?" said Peter Dinklage. "Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox?" I didn't realize he was on a soapbox, and I was a fan of Game of Thrones, and he was very, very good on it.
He's a very good actor.
But the whole his whole backstory was about him being a dwarf and how his father hated him because his mother died during childbirth, and he was a dwarf, and it was the whole thing. I don't know.
So why is it okay for him to portray a dwarf? So
that's the only thing he can portray, Kathy. He's a little
no. That's not, I don't agree with that. But I understand what you're saying. But that is the character he's most famous for is from Game of Thrones, right? He was also an elf, where they also commented.
Was
on
he
his
an
height.
elf?
Yeah, he was the writer, and Will Ferrell called him an elf.
Yeah. I remember that.
He freaked out. So how is it okay for him to play little people and dwarfs, where they actually acknowledge his height.
Yeah.
But it's not okay for Disney to portray dwarfs in their movies. I don't get it.
So the thing goes on. I guess I'm not loud enough. Dinklage is not involved in the Disney project. Disney attempted to set the record straight following the remarks from Peter Dinklage, and this is the official statement of Disney. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period, a Disney spokesperson said. Still, years from release, Snow White will have cultural consultants, just like other films such as Aladdin and Mulan. The film has been
Hollywood.
Yeah, the film has been developed for 3 years, and it goes on and on and on with that. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. Are they the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train? Are they going to change the name of that? One of the most popular rides in Walt Disney World, and they might. It's also one of my favorite rides. That ride is worth a long wait to get on. It's a very fun ride.
So, what are they going to do now? Cancel dwarfs? I know that you don't. I know you're not supposed to call them that. It's little people. I understand that, and I don't call little people dwarfs. I don't, but that is the name that Walt Disney had, and it's his first feature film. It's iconic. It's a great movie, by the way. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Great ride. They had the Snow White ride. They moved that, got rid of that, and now they have the mine train. But I don't understand the hostility that's coming from him.
Peter Dinklage?
I think
maybe he wasn't cast as
maybe
the head
that's why. I don't know. But is his beef with the name, or he seems to be upset with the portrayal of them living in a cave? They're not real character. They're not real people. They're fictional.
No. Hold on. They don't. They work in a cave.
That's right.
They live in a house. And
did he say live in a cave?
Yeah, he said live in a.
Well, he's wrong.
Maybe he hasn't seen the movie.
Maybe
get Disney Plus.
No, they live in a house.
Yeah, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is one of my favorite of the classic Disney movies.
Very good.
The only thing that I find there's 2 things about the movie which I think are one shocking, one's just a bizarre. I think the strangest thing in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is when Snow White finds their house before she meets them. Snow White breaks into the dwarf's house and cleans it. And that just seems so weird to me.
And then sleeps in the bed.
Yeah, that just seems so strange to me.
Well, it's a movie. We all know it's pretend.
But in the beginning, they try to knife her, right? They try to knife Snow White. The woodsman tries to, and it's very traumatic. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe.
Yeah, it's got some scary parts.
We watched, actually, not that long ago, when we first got Disney Plus, we did watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Pretty soon after we got Disney Plus. Had not seen it since I was a kid.
I think it was the first thing we watched.
Yeah, and not only do I think it is a great movie,
it
is the most important movie Disney ever made, because like I said at the beginning of the program, Disney was well known before, but this was the first full-length feature film. It took years to make, and Walt Disney, if you read the biography of Walt Disney, we've got that really thick, famous biography. They sell it at the parks. It seems like half the book is about the making of Snow White. It totally defined the world of animation, even still today, almost,
absolutely,
like 80 years later. And it made Walt Disney a superstar. And so far as the portrayal of the dwarves, I don't know of any negative stereotypes of them in the movie. They seem like very hardworking, wealthy guys to me.
And they're heroes. They're heroes. I don't understand either. Maybe you guys can explain it to us. I'm not a little person, but if maybe you can explain what the offense is.
By the way, Gal Gadot is going to be the evil queen in that movie.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
she's good. And they cast, I think, the girl from West Side Story.
Yeah, that's it. She's
Snow White, so that'll be good.
Well, you know what? Of
course, I didn't see West Side Story, but she's a pretty girl.
The new ones, yeah, the new West Side Story. Well, Walt Disney, I think one of the smartest things Walt Disney did was with the Evil Queen. He wanted the Evil Queen to be beautiful, and he cast a beautiful actress. And at the parks, one of my favorite characters is the Evil Queen. And at Disneyland, if you go on YouTube and see the Evil Queen from Disneyland. The Evil Queen at Disneyland is the coolest character walking around the park. She interacts with people on Main Street.
The villains are the best.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And
we met her at the Artist Point. I think that's the restaurant in the Wilderness Lodge. We went up there and ate, went to that.
She's all snarky.
Yeah, it was pretty new. And you have Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy, and the Evil Queen.
Yeah.
And it's in the Wilderness Lodge. I think I can't remember the name of it, but it's like in an enchanted forest. It's a great restaurant. The food was but you got to meet the characters. Everybody loves meeting the villains.
We went there just to meet the Evil Queen.
Yeah, we did. We got pictures with her, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I think the issue here is now we'll see what happens with this new movie. Now they had the TV show Once Upon a Time on ABC, and Snow White had her dwarfs. Now they were like 5'5", 5'6". The actors, they weren't little people, which I thought was strange because what are they going to not have little people act anymore and keep them out of movies?
I know.
I mean, don't they understand when they make these changes? Sometimes they're not helping these people. They're actually harming them because they're canceling them out and they're removing them from, it's like with people that want Gone with the Wind removed because of because it portrays slavery, right? And Hattie McDaniel. Well, she won an Academy Award for that movie, and she was proud of that Academy Award.
And so did Walt Disney for Snow White.
So you want to cancel Hattie McDaniel's Academy Award winning performance and take that away from her?
And
I don't understand.
And if they make these changes, Peter Dinklage is talking about. Walt Disney won Academy Awards for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and that's the one where they gave him like the 7 little tiny Oscars.
Oh, that's
you ever
cute.
see the picture of them? And it was the same year as Gone with the Wind. And
1939, the best year Oscars. For movies, they say.
Yeah, and it's absolutely amazing. And to change anything about that takes away something that is very original from Mr. Walt Disney himself, which should not be altered.
I think that's the problem I have, and I think many people is they're changing Disney so much that it's no longer Disney.
It's not Walt.
It's no longer Disney, and that's. I've talked about this before. There's a phrase, I can't remember. It's like a thing where it says if you change something enough, is it originally what it was meant to be? No, like we watched a video on Epcot from 1982 when it first opened, and it has changed a lot. There's other than the countries. In Future World, there's very little there that's original. And I said, is this even Epcot anymore? Because it's not like it was when it opened. So is it even still Epcot? I mean, you know, you might as well change the name because it's really not Epcot anymore. But with changing Minnie Mouse, now I know it's not permanent, but changing Minnie Mouse's outfit, it's a feel-good thing they're doing for some stupid reason. I don't think it's permanent, but it's ridiculous. And then to do this thing we'll see what they do with Snow White, the live action. But you're right; these are iconic things that Disney came up with.
These are things that Walt Disney himself and what they're doing is they're taking Walt Disney out of Disney World.
Absolutely.
And so far as I'm concerned, anything that Walt Disney personally created should not be altered. Now, Walt Disney, and I know you guys have seen this. You know, the pretty much everyone I'm sure has seen this. If you haven't, it's on YouTube. When Walt Disney is talking about Epcot. And he says it will forever be changing. It will never be finished. And he said this about the theme parks. But when he said that, he didn't mean they're going to be changing and I'm not going to be here anymore. You know, I'm not going to be represented. The Dwarfs and Snow White are not going to be represented. Uh-huh. You know, that's not what he meant. He meant new things would be added all the time. And some things get dated and have to be removed. And there were things in Walt's time. I
don't think he meant totally replaced.
No, there were rides and things, even in Walt Disney's lifetime, that were taken out of at Disneyland. Maybe they didn't work or they got dated quickly. But he didn't mean take out iconic things that he himself had created. And because he died in 1966, there is so little left that actually has Walt Disney's fingerprints on it, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Minnie Mouse are two things that he created, and those should not be altered.
Well, I don't understand why, Minnie Mouse is not a real person. Obviously, she's a mouse. She's a character. And her wearing a dress and heels, I don't know why that's a negative. I don't understand why her wearing a cute little dress. And I like kind of retro-looking things because when I look at her outfit, it's dated. Obviously, it's something old-fashioned. It's from it was designed originally in the late 20s.
Yes,
and all this stuff. And her outfit has basically remained the same. And I know she does other clothes, but she's always wearing a dress. I don't think it's a negative that a woman wears a dress. You're saying that women's clothes are negative. Now, it'd be interesting is what if they put Mickey in a dress? I mean, they put Minnie Mouse in a pantsuit. What would happen if they put Mickey Mouse? I would not be surprised in a dress. I think people would absolutely lose their minds over that.
Now,
but it would be interesting.
Just one last thing I want to mention that's unrelated to what we've been talking about before we end. The craziness that went on at the opening at Epcot of the art festival with the Figment popcorn bucket. Yeah. Okay. And I just want to ask you guys a couple things. First off, is there anyone listening to us? Let us know in the comments that actually waited in these couple hour long lines for the popcorn bucket. 6 hours. Because you got to understand, if you waited in those early lines, okay, if you waited in those early lines, you're spending almost your entire day at Epcot in that line, or at least half of it if you're going to do an all day long thing. That seems kind of crazy to me.
Some people really love Figment.
Yeah, I understand that. But this is the thing, okay? When something like that becomes a big hit, okay, everyone knows. Everyone's talking about this. Watch the vloggers have even talked about this. They may have run out of it now, and it may be all crazy now and hard to get. But in a few weeks, you'll just be able to walk in the park and pick it up.
Maybe. Well, and Jen Tracker went to the warehouse.
The character warehouse in Orlando.
And they did a video, and they walked in, and they had dozens of this one popcorn bucket that they said people were waiting. I think it was a Halloween one. They didn't really, I didn't get to see a good look. And they had tons and tons. I'm not saying you're going to have Figment, but I sure as hell wouldn't pay $200 or $300 for one of these plastic popcorn buckets on eBay. I'd like to know if anybody has done that, has paid
That's crazy.
$200 for, like I said, unless you really, really love Figment like Dave K. I mean, he loves Figment.
Sure.
I would not wait, me personally, I wouldn't. There's no character at Disney World that I love. I like Figment.
I like Figment,
and Donald Duck is my favorite character. So I don't know if they had a Donald Duck popcorn bucket.
Not 6 hours.
Maybe but I wouldn't pay $200 on eBay. I might send you up there to get it.
It seems a little excessive to wait in line that long. A
little. I think I'd wait 2 hours, but not 6.
The longest I ever waited in a line was on the opening day of Galaxy's Edge. I waited in line 4 hours to ride Smuggler's Run, but that was on the opening day,
and you got there at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Like 1 o'clock in the morning. They wouldn't let us in.
But you had fun though.
Yeah, no, but that was a different thing, because we're experiencing the opening of a new land. And walking on the deck of the Millennium Falcon for the first time is a pretty amazing thing. And that was, but a popcorn bucket, 6 hours.
But some people, in all fairness, some people find waiting in lines like that fun.
Who are those people?
Well, it's because you're waiting in line and there's a lot of other people waiting in line with you. You're all there in solidarity. You meet people, you talk to people, and it kind of becomes a thing. And it kind of becomes something different that you experience. It's part of the Disney experience, waiting in a long line for a coveted item. And I think Disney's really good at doing that with, they have one item, it's available in one place, and that's it. It's exclusive. And I think they're really good at marketing that way. Instead of making it available throughout all the parks, it's at Epcot only. And, and I think some people, and if I lived in Orlando and I had access to the parks all the time, I probably would wait in line a long time for it because it's a fun thing to say I did.
Yeah.
But if I was just there on vacay, I don't think I'd waste a half a day doing it.
I don't think...
Unless your kid really... let's be honest. If you were there, Brian, and our daughter was 5 years old, and she absolutely loved Figment, had Figment everything, I think you'd probably wait in line 6 hours. That's what parents do.
I saw the lines, and these were not people with 6-year-old kids.
These younger people?
These were people in their 20s and 30s
that
and 40s.
Act like 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And I don't think the Figment popcorn bucket is going to be at the Character Warehouse anytime soon.
Maybe not.
But it's going to show up without notice at the World of Disney.
You think so?
At Disney Spring. Oh, yeah.
They'll make more because it's so popular.
Yeah.
But you know what they should do to really make those things even more coveted is you have them numbered. Like you have art that's like serigraphs that are numbered
goodness.
1,000. Say they initially make 2,000 or 2,500, and you get on the back it says 1 out of 2,500 or 57 out of 2,500. And if they had that on the back of the popcorn bucket or on the bottom, then it'd be worth a lot more. And then they might sell them later on at the World of Disney. But if it had like a numbered, like the original first 250, then I could see where you'd be like, okay, this is, I don't, not that it's any different, but you know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think about the Minnie Mouse costume in pants. And I don't like the costume. I don't even know about Stella McCartney. I love her dad's music, but I don't know anything about her designs. I don't follow that, but I'd love to know what you guys think of Minnie Mouse's new pantsuit. A lot of people said it looks like Hillary Clinton, and who is not a fashion icon. I'm sorry. And what do you think about the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Do you think it's offensive to use the term dwarfs? Do you think it's offensive? The movie, does it depict little people in a negative light? I mean, they have their own right at Disney World now. What do you guys think about those two things? And like Brian said, did anybody buy a popcorn bucket off eBay for $100?
Well, I do know. I've not heard of dwarf being considered derogatory. I
think you say little people now.
I know that I'm not going to even say the word, but the M word.
Oh, no, that's definitely
now that one's derogatory. I understand
I'm not sure that.
But dwarf, I've not heard dwarf be derogatory. Dwarf is actually a medical term. So
that's true.
Dwarfism is a medical term. I don't know what Dinklage is talking about. I don't understand. He's offended.
Like I said, he's played dwarfs.
Well, that's all he can play, Kathy.
No,
because he's so little.
That's not true.
How could he play something other than that?
It's not true. There's 3 movies. What I'm saying is he could play a regular person what I mean regular, he could play a person in a movie where his height is not an issue, where it doesn't even get brought up, is what I'm saying. But there's 3 movies I know of where his height was an issue. 3 things. Game of Thrones, Elf, and he played Hervé Villechaize.
That's right,
in the movie,
Tattoo.
He played Tattoo. That just is on Netflix with Jamie, the guy from 50 Shades of Grey.
That's right.
So he did a movie about that. So why is it okay for him to depict little people and dwarfs? And one was a real person, but Disney can't make a movie that features dwarfs. That's where I'm a little confused on where he's offended.
What Peter Dinklage wants, is anytime someone in Hollywood makes a movie or a television show about a dwarf, they first must come to Peter Dinklage and get his approval.
Well, maybe he's mad because he's not cast as Grumpy.
He's like he wants to be like the dwarf king of Hollywood.
Oh my God.
I think that's what he's saying here.
I don't know, but I don't understand why he's so offended over this. But, is it the name dwarfs? How they're depicted? They live in a house. They don't live in a cave. They mine for diamonds.
They're
heroes
hard.
In the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. The only thing maybe is that they have a messy house, but all guys have a messy house. All men need a wife or whatever to keep their house clean. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening. This is Kathy and Brian with the Main Street Moments podcast. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the parks.